Afterwards, we'll take questions.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Schultz. I'm the principal of Mitchell High School. I'd like to welcome you all today on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of Mitchell High School. I'd like to thank all of the dignitaries from our district who have come to join us today. Cynthia Armstrong, one of our school board members, as well as an assistant superintendent, Dr. Monica Isles. I just want to let everyone know that we're so excited to partner with SynDaver to introduce the synthetic dissection of the frogs to our students. It's amazing to see this idea come to fruition. Dr. Danielson is my family's vet, and I remember when he shared this vision with me a few years ago, and I told him, when you do this, we are your school, we want to be a part of this, and I'm hopeful that this innovative approach will take away the stigma that's often associated with the traditional dissection, and that more of our students will be excited about science and about learning and about dissection. Learning is not a spectator sport, and I think this completely fits the bill as it relates to that, and it will definitely allow for great interactions for our students. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Deputy Superintendent for Pasco County, Mr. Ray Gadd, and thank you all again for coming.
I want to thank Jessica Schultz for hosting this event. It's my pleasure to be here. I had an opportunity about a month ago to go down to the actual factory where SynDaver produces these specimens and actually see how they're produced and put together. And when I left there, I thought what I saw was pure genius. It was amazing to me. I took pictures. I went home and showed them to my wife and my grandkids, and I just thought it was amazing. But the best part about it is I had an opportunity to walk into a classroom this morning where kids were actually dissecting frogs, and I saw the joy in their faces. And I believe that this particular technology, as opposed to the old dissection of dead animals, will bring more kids into science classroom and lead more kids to be excited about this technology. So I'm hoping that there's a partnership somewhere in our future with the SynDaver organization. Devil's always in the details, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a great technology. I think it'll benefit education, and I think it'll turn the biomedical sciences around, especially in high schools. So it's my pleasure to be here, and I really want to thank the SynDaver folks for supplying all of the frogs and allowing our students to participate in this event, because I'm sure they're going to go home and tell their parents how exciting it was and how much fun they had today at school. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Christopher Sakules. I'm the CEO of SynDaver. Last name is Sakezles, for those of you that are wondering. I can't really see any of you because I'm not wearing my glasses, so if you need my attention, you're going to have to do something like this. Dr. Dave and I have known each other for 45 or so years now. We met at the flagpole, Lake Magdalene Elementary, about 6 years old, I guess. We've been working together on and off since then. What we've got here today with the SynFrog is actually one of the things I'm most excited about. We've developed all these products here over the last 15 years, started the company in 2004, and this little thing is going to be really important for us. We're big into secondary education. We're all about engaging students, and what I saw today in the classroom was one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. Students, knee-deep in, finger deep in guts, actually being engaged, saying, this is fun. Everything I do is about making more people like me, people that are interested in science, that are actually going to get out and build things and tinker and change the world. And so this little guy is very exciting to me, and I'm very happy to be working with Dr. Dave to help get this done.
My name is Dr. David Danielson. I'm a practicing veterinarian here in Tampa. It's been 25 years, and it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to be part of the development of these amazing models. As Christopher mentioned, it's been a long journey. One of the things that really started this. And one of the things that I'm so excited about with the frog is actually my own daughter had approached me regarding her need to dissect a fetal pig. And she came to me and said, I can't do it. I don't want to have an animal die for me to learn. And at that time, having the opportunity with these technologies to change that, I was like, well, why do we do that? Let's change that paradigm. Can we remove that barrier? As Christopher said, I feel that this is going to give opportunity to students who have that concern. They're going to be able now to go and do these dissections, to learn anatomy, to be excited about it, and it'll probably change. Some of those students today may become excellent surgeons. They may go on to become veterinarians. So this is a new way of doing things, and I think in that regard we can do it better, and we have. So I'm just so excited. I'm so pleased that we're getting this opportunity to launch this to the world, and hopefully this will change how things are done. Take care. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Samantha Souter. It's S-U-I-T-E-R, and I am the manager of science education at PETA. It's my pleasure to be here this morning to discuss this super exciting science education advancement that will spare millions of animals' lives each year. It'll also improve student learning and eliminate exposure to chemicals. So ending animal dissection is a campaign that PETA has worked on for decades. Because of our efforts and the public's growing concerns about the need to protect animals and modernize science education, teachers are increasingly choosing humane non-animal methods. With PETA as its major funding partner, SynDaver has created the new SynFrog, which can help replace the use of frog cadavers completely in K-12 and collegiate classroom dissection activities. Each year, at least 3 million frogs are killed for classroom dissection. They're taken from their homes in the wild and drowned in chemicals and then dissected by students in the U.S. In addition, the U.S. Department of the Interior has concluded that frog population declines are due in part to their use in classroom dissection exercises. Of course, biological supply companies are not in the business of protecting animals. Their bottom line is selling as many animal cadavers as possible with no care for the animal's welfare before they are killed. In 2017, PETA eyewitnesses documented egregious cruelty in this dissection industry, such as drowning live pigeons and injecting live crayfish with liquid latex. The company was subsequently charged with 25 counts of cruelty to animals. Studies show that students are distracted and learning is difficult when they're forced to dissect real animals. Further studies show that animal dissection can deter some students from pursuing careers in science because they are traumatized by the experience of dissecting a formerly living animal. PETA hears from these students. They're often too shy to speak up and sometimes participate, even though dissecting an animal is against their deeply held ethical beliefs. I have personal experience with this as a parent of a high schooler who has been asked to dissect several animals and their organs. My daughter's teacher has had nothing planned for her and other students who oppose using animals, and she's had a subpar learning experience as a result. Teachers know that hands-on activities generate palpable excitement and genuine opportunities for learning. Students and teachers have been dreaming of something more than digital dissection for years, and now that dream is a reality. As an educator myself, I've used only relevant and efficacious humane non-animal methods and found that my students learn the material quickly and confidently. There's no denying the awful smell when a bucket or bag of preserved animals is opened. Most animals are preserved in formaldehyde, so even if they are shipped in various holding solutions or if they're rinsed, traces of this chemical remain. Thankfully, SynFrog does not require these preservative chemicals. SynFrog is the state-of-the-art technology that we and kind students everywhere have been waiting for. So we'd like to thank SynDaver for bringing this vision to life, and Pasco School District, in particular J.W. Mitchell High School, for leading the way in modern, superior, and humane science education. We look forward to the rest of the country following its lead. Thank you.
And with that, we'll open it up for questions. So, first question.
For the principal, what kind of dissections have been done here in the past? What kinds of animals?
So our students traditionally have done frogs. They've also done fetal pigs. They have done the bull shark. They have looked at different eyes, as well as, I believe that's it. Actually, I'm not completely sure beyond that.
Do you have a lot of students that opt out not to do it? What kind of response do you get from them?
We do have students that opt out. We usually have an alternative assignment for them to complete so that they do not miss out on learning opportunities. But we do have students that do not want to dissect because of some of that. And I can tell you today, having been in first period, there was not a student who was sitting back, who was not paying attention. They were all engaged and indeed fingers deep in the synthetic frog, and it was an amazing sight to behold to see just students engaged in something that was very exciting for them and that they'd never done before, and that they wanted to be a part of.
Talk a little bit about costs. How much each, example costs?
Yeah, right now they're more expensive than an actual frog right now. They're $150 a piece. That is something that we will attempt to get down. But what we have, when you compare a SynFrog to a real frog, you're really not looking at, it's apples and oranges. The SynFrog is reusable, first of all. And with a real preserved frog, you've got basically a mess of grayish brown organs that look like old chewing tobacco to me when you're trying to identify features that are inside the animal. And with the SynFrog, you've got materials that actually mimic live tissue and that look like live organs. And if your objective is to train the student, to introduce the student to anatomy, you want them to see something that's close to the real thing. So, I believe with a real frog, you're actually getting something called negative training transfer, which is teaching someone the wrong way. So, just like our human products and our canine products and our cat products and everything we make, they're all more expensive than, the real thing. But it's not a fair comparison because, we're selling equipment, we're not selling disposables. The real frog is going to go in the trash and you're going to have to buy it again next year. We've got something that can be reused, that's safe, no biohazards, no formalin, no carcinogens. The school can keep them, the student can bring them home, they can be used as a reference later on, forever and ever. I've got parts on hand in my lab that I made in grad school 25 years ago, so the materials will last a long time if you take care of them. So. It depends on how you treat them. So if you take one of these bodies and the synthetic human is a $70,000 model, if I throw a hand grenade at it, that's gonna take a long time to fix. If your surgical approach or whatever you're doing, your anatomy training is the way it's supposed to be, and you take care of the model, and in particular with the frog, if you do a simple midline incision, you pull the organs out, you look at them. That can be reused, we don't know how many times because it's new, but conceivably for years and years. We'll have to do some testing to find out exactly how long. The students that I saw this morning were having quite a bit of fun with them, and we're dissecting all the way down to the bone. We didn't say they couldn't, so they were having a good amount of fun with them and taking them apart. So those will be hard to repair, but you can make them in any number of different ways, so their parts are replaceable, and there's still work to be done on this particular product. Like everything we make, we'll go from a Rev A to a Rev B, and this is a 0 series model, so it's what you're going to see today in the lab is the very first design, the very first models that we've made, and we're presenting it unvarnished without any coaching or anything like that. And I'm personally amazed at the response that it's getting. I was expecting good, but not this good, really. We know what we're doing, I guess. So.
Do you have other schools reaching out to you that want to purchase these?
Well, what we're doing today is a big surprise. We didn't really do much announcement. So the product's being launched today. We're live streaming on our Facebook page today, and I think PETA probably is too. So the word will be out today, and we expect to replace live frogs. There's really going to be no reason to use live frogs anymore. Our experience is superior.
Are the other products already being used, some of them, or is it? Or
Yeah, our flagship product is the synthetic human that's been used at the university and now the high school level for about 6 or 7 years, I think. Copycat is new. I think that's less than a year old. That's the cat model over here. SynDaver Canine has been used in vet schools worldwide. Now the horse model that's up here hasn't really been launched yet. So these are mostly university products that you see up here. The frog is pure secondary. You know, the cat is mostly secondary. Jessica mentioned things like fetal pig and bull shark. We're going to be making those things too. So, you know, essentially what we're looking at here today is, to me, the end of vivisection. There's no reason to do it anymore.
How realistic are they? How do they compare to the real thing?
They're better than the real thing. So we, you know, I've been doing this going back to grad school for about 25 years. I started the basic materials research back then, formed SynDaver in 2004. Company's been around for 15 years, and in that time, the work that I did was focused on making models for the medical device industry to do verification and validation testing. I'm a former medical device engineer, so when I first started using the technology, it was for med device development purposes, which is a very high-end application. It's a basic sciences research application, and it's not a needs to look like, feel like model like this one really is, because the students need to just be able to get that tactile sensation and see the geometry and the relationship between the different organs. But with in a med device application, you actually need the tissue to perform just like a real tissue, otherwise you're wasting your time. To do a medical device test and get good results out, you need a good model. So we've got, this technology is something that mimics not just look and feel, but density and chemical properties to a certain extent. You can use laser scalpels and electrosurgical equipment and MRI and CT and ultrasound, and the tissues were developed to perform like real live tissue, so they do. And then when you make something out of them, the fact that it looks like and feels like the real thing kind of happens by accident. We're just mimicking God's work up here at the end of the day, but the materials we have a lot of basic sciences research behind them.
How did Mitchell get picked for this?
Personal connection between my friend and his friend.
I've her rabbit Otter. Go ahead. Yep.
They might not be able to.
Yeah. So, how many years ago?
6.
6 years ago. I'm one of the few veterinarians in the area that do rabbits, and I'm still practicing. And honestly, still my client. And she brought Otter to me. And,
Otter the bunny came, and I needed someone to spay Otter and my other bunny Carrot, and so I found Dr. D, and he has treated all of the animals that we have, and but it started because of a bunny, actually. Yep.
And so my relationship with Chris, I know during the course of an exam one time, I just mentioned that I was working, I think, on the dog at the time. In fact, interesting enough, the horse is modeled after her horse. We went out to her. She was nice enough to let us go out and take pictures and measurements and everything. So, it's as in anything, it's connections and just fate. I think it was just so weird that one rabbit kind of culminated ultimately in this day. So I'm so excited about that. I believe in fate, and I think just like the relationship I had with Chris all these years, things come together for a reason, and that's really why.
A bunny.
A bunny.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. This is all purely local. Everything is done here. Everything from materials to completion is done locally. And Dave and I both went to public school here in Tampa. We went to USF. We went to grad school at University of Florida in Gainesville. But this is a purely local operation. There's nothing in China. There's nothing out of state. Everything is sourced here in the U.S. It's 100% local, which I think is important.
Yeah, it's proper to give back locally too. So that was the other side of it. We were mentioned about going to California or reaching out, but I think having it here in our backyard, I think, is very important because it sets the stage. I think it's awesome.
Will the students be using these frogs moving forward, or is this a trial and then, or these?
No, we're moving. Yeah, we're.
Our goal is
We're-
to absolutely use the frogs. This is, of course, our first run, at it, but our goal is to absolutely use those frogs. I can say that I am not a science teacher by trade. I am an English teacher by trade. However, in just speaking with my science teachers in the district and different people who have come to look at the frogs, you know, when you nick the heart of a frog in dissection, it will sometimes disintegrate, or their intestines, they will disintegrate. Sometimes the egg sacs will break, and you will have eggs everywhere, so students will have to spend a lot of time cleaning those out. And in this, they do not. They are right there. If you inadvertently nick the heart, you can still see the chambers of the heart. You can still see the intestines. And when you lift all of the different organs, you are still looking at everything intact. So you're able to see those things. Plus, with specimens that are dead, you have to determine if you get a female frog or a male frog. And so fortunately, these are all female frogs, I believe, and
eggs.
so they can all see those organs and parts, and they don't have to worry about if they cut too hard or if they inadvertently do something. And I think that in and of itself provides so much more for our students, that they don't have to worry, oh my gosh, I did this wrong, and ruin their learning experience. It's right there, and it doesn't disintegrate quickly. Or at all, actually.
Consistency. It creates consistency of learning. Excellent. I appreciate
Any other questions? If you guys want one-on-ones, we can do one-on-ones after as well if you want to speak to someone. So, is that it? All right. Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate it. Excellent. Thank you guys.
Sorry. You're fine. That was good.
It's all the lights.
I pulled you into this weird world. Sadly, that won't be your last time, I think.
Sadly, you don't want it to be the last time.
Do we want to take them down? Are they
Yes.
going to stay here? Are they going to go to
Chris?
I think what he's
Yes,
going
sir.
to do is see if they want to do one-on-ones. So you have to have one
Okay.
and maybe one-on-ones, and then we'll take them.
And they were dissecting. I'm like, wait a minute, I want the rubber. I was that kid.
Question for you.
Sure.
Can you kind of just talk us through kind of what we're looking at?
Yeah, most definitely.